Hi everyone, I'm MayW4. This is Grow, Make, Cook, and welcome to my garden. The daisies and the foxgloves, these guys that I put in here in the cottage garden down here, have just come up spectacularly. And I can see that all of my Tuscan kale that I grow every year from my own seed is starting to do its thing too. I'm seeing little seed pods forming. Everything is really sort of coming into its own at the moment, and it's so beautiful. The garden is so colorful and vibrant, and everything is just feels so alive. It makes you excited for the summer to come. So one of the lovely things about May is that things like your tomatoes and cucumbers and zucchinis are really starting to grow well and grow strongly. And so now is the time, if you've planted out tomatoes like these, which are yabuchar, which is kind of the apple tomato, it's a local variety, and these guys will grow up big and strong and they make lots of lovely offshoots, but we need to start tying them in. Now, if you, like me, are gardening on a fairly tight budget this year, this here was probably one of the best investments we have made for staking our garden. Now, I tried using just bits of wood, like cutting bits of branches, long straight bits, and I kept them, and we tried using those, and they weren't very strong, and they were often very wide to make it long enough. And so they would leave great big whopping holes in the ground, and they wouldn't always necessarily hold up my plants. This is a very cheap piece of rebar, the stuff that they put into concrete when they're forming it. And it cost us very, very little at our local hardware store. And it's just been going and going and going. So this is one of those times where I think spending a tiny little bit of money instead of using the free ones, which are bits of timber from the garden, has actually made an enormous difference. So a high value, low cost item. And if you're gardening on a budget, there's no way you're buying those specialist stakes with the plastic coating and the wiggly lines and all of that from the garden centre. They're quite expensive. So a really good, reasonable alternative is these very, very simple rebar stakes. And you just use them exactly the same as you would any other staking material. You just pop it in next to the plant, gently push it down into the soil, and then tie him in with some little bits of garden twine and then give him a feed. Couldn't be simpler. These guys here are my broad beans, and they are looking delicious. This variety is Acqua Dolce, which is a really good one for, you know, early sowings. I sowed these beans here at the end of last year, so they've been here all of winter basically, and now they're finally ready to harvest. And these guys are one of those vegetables that makes an enormous difference whether or not it's fresh. So you can buy them reasonably cheaply frozen in the supermarkets, and they're a bit mealy, they're okay, they're filling, they're good for you, but when you pick them fresh and you just pop them in a pot and boil them up and eat them just like this, they are sweet, and the starches haven't had a chance to turn into starches yet, so they've still got sugars in them. And the flavor, the thing that gives broad beans a really bad name is that people don't grow their own. These are one of those items that if you think you don't like broad beans, make sure you've at least once in your life tried them fresh. Another really important thing to think about, hello, when you are planning to try and save money by planting a vegetable or a fruit garden is what you eat. What are the most expensive things in your shopping bill? Now for us, that includes a lot of things like these, which are black currants, strawberries, soft fruit especially, blackberries, blackcurrants, strawberries, blueberries, all of that sort of thing. They're very expensive in the shops. They're really very costly. But planting some tiny little strawberries, not for you. Planting some tiny little strawberries is a really good way to ensure that you're getting strawberries, because once you've got strawberries in your garden, they will put down little runners and send little shoots out, and they'll just keep making more and more strawberries. And things like black currants are really easily propagated shrubs. So once you get that soft fruit started, and it can be expensive to buy the plants at the beginning, but once you get it started, these are like little jewels that just keep giving and giving year after year. And those black currants in there certainly look like they're forming. So we should be looking forward to a good harvest this year. Take one more strawberry. Ha! I am about to head up to the kitchen and boil up these delicious little beans. So I think that's probably about all we've got time for this week. If you like what we're doing, please like the video. If you want notifications, use the bell icon below. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And until next time then, do widzenia.